Picture this kid. Anything's possible if you take the chances. They ended up on the news because there was a riot in Brisbane. It was crazy. And that was our first run. And somehow this kid from Hurstville gets a phone call and goes, "Do you want to fire in the booth?"
Making history in the booth now. First Australian rapper in the building.
Good, shout out down under.
I'm there going, "Bro, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die." He just goes, "Are you ready, bro?"
420 fam.
I didn't think it was gonna happen, but I laid that in 9 minutes, one go, start to finish, and I didn't miss a beat. And you can see it in my eyes from the moment I say shout out my mum.
Shout out my mum, shout out my day ones.
I just dialed the fuck in.
I live for this shit, bro, for my mum, for my fucking family.
Wow!
Do it, man.
Like, I was going through one of the darkest times in my life.
Blake Turnell, also known as Chiller,
found himself in Sutherland Court.
I wish I could talk more about it, but as you can probably all see, it means so much to me. It was a roller coaster, so yeah, let's chop it up, man. I'm keen.
Start this track, I need you all to sing it with me if you know the words, let's go. Love it or hate it, cause we underrated and out of Australia. Oh yeah!
Chilling it, aka Blake Turnell.
Hey, how are you, brother? I think I was doing air conditioning at the time, like literally at that moment, as you said, had dabbled in like the park freestyles, the YouTube drops here and there that kind of got deleted or started, just, dabbling here and there, then went to work. Kind of one day just decided, got to have a crack at this. Saw Talakai on Facebook. This is before Instagram, before the TikTok and all the things that are happening now, and it was just on Facebook. Saw Talakai, reached out to him. We made the song Get Bodied. I then took the initiative to get 2 jobs and reach out to all these rappers that I thought were really good in Australia that we weren't really getting traction at the time. It wasn't a time when it was popping like it was maybe 10 years ago. And I just basically flew them down. Like it's kind of like a movie. You would have to be there to believe it. Like I just flew these 9 guys down and we met and we built a connection and we toured the country off of like self-funded working a few jobs and hiring a guy that had no experience, and we ran a tour. They ended up on the news because there was a riot in Brisbane. It was crazy. And that was our first run. That was my first experience in the music industry. And it was a lesson. It was something that helped shape the professionalism we carry now because of how I learned the logistics of what I had to do there. Shout outs to man, and some of these people are still pumping today. You should check them out. Shadow was one of them, man. He ran the Perth one. There was Bass Cadet spinning on the decks. We had Wombat. We had Husky there as well. It was like an all-star lineup. People that some of them aren't even rapping at this current point. I think Michos was there as well. And apologies if I've forgotten anybody here who is on there. Nerve was there. There was
Talakai, obviously.
Talakai, yeah. How do I put Talakai? Talakai will be sitting there rinsing me for forgetting him there. Look, but Scrub was there. Alex Jones, big A-Dot, which was a blessing. It was one of the few times that, that we got to see him pop out. I think Summon was there as well. Fort. It was a lineup that like you wouldn't see today. Like it just politically wouldn't happen. So like it was a special moment to be a part of. Someone was crowd surfing. A fight started. The fight ended up outside. It just turned into absolute chaos to the point where like the venue had lost control. And by the end of it, shout out to Nerve, a little fun story here. Nerve took advantage of the situation, pulled out one of those Apple things and was like, I'm selling merch on my Apple thing, and made about a K or 2 out the front in the riot selling merch. So shout out to Nerve being savvy. But yeah, it just got shut down. And the irony of it was it got shut down right as the last set was happening. So it was long enough for the fans to enjoy it. And then the shutdown, as much as it wasn't what we wanted, was a part of the notoriety that kind of led the rest of my career, that kind of accidentally, subconsciously kind of led to certain moments in my life. The Triple J cypher was like, there's certain moments I feel like in every industry, whether it be music, sport, whatever, where like it's solidified, it's classic. And there might be certain things that outdo it or outclass it, but it was the moment. And the way that like, to describe the intricate plot of it, I don't know if it's on the screen right now, but like Nerve with the Krusty the Clown hair, me with like no facial hair, A-Dot like just up to the height of the mic, just shelling out of control. Husky like literally on like a day's notice, bro, spitting one of the hardest verses off his phone, unreleased, man. with no preparation whatsoever, how one of the hip hop greats in Australia, like just hosting it on a time before like Triple J even was acknowledging hip hop. It was kind of just like, oh really, there's ciphers, and next thing you know, Bars of Steel. Next thing you know, Nightly, A-Girl, shout out to her hosting, man. It was a crazy time, and to be a part of it again was a blessing. But like, again, I think it's like you had to be there, and you couldn't replicate that if you tried. You can get everyone, you can try to organize something. That was a magical moment. So I was blessed, man. I was so blessed to be a part of that shit. The funniest thing with Body Bag Media is like not so much that like people thought that I was the owner or something, but it was like we were so tied in my early upbringings that like people just assumed there was like a business connection. The way that it was, and it was as simple as like I just saw an initiative of a person that was, you know, had the setup, had the camera, had the contacts, and I had the drive to like to you know, kind of make it happen. So I was like making trips from Sydney to Central Coast like twice a week to link with him and to go, this is my idea, let's record this, I was kind of helping co-direct, I was suggesting where we're going, doing these things, and I was going, I'm happy to put this out through your channel in return for like what we're both going to get out of it. So it was basically just like a handshake kind of mutual agreement, like how it started. It was just like the birth of something like that. And that's what kind of led to Get Bodied and everything else starting. But yeah, it's kind of good to even reflect on it now, how authentic it was. It was truly just me going, here's an opportunity. I'm willing to make these trips. He was willing to do the work, and it turned into what it turned into, man. And for a while, it was one of the most powerful pages. And man, everybody that listens to rap, I think, wants to rap or has rap. Like, or even people that don't rap sit down at the party and they bust the bars, bro. Everyone's written something, you know what I mean? So like, I think that just what resonated with not just Body Bag, but just hustle hard Australian rap being out there is people going, oh shit, there's a guy speaking my slang, my lingo popping, and it's cool. It's tight. And once that happened, the levels just escalated and escalated and escalated to the point where the flow patterns were on par with international levels, but it was still Ocker, Aussie slang. So I just watched it grow from like, you know, the same as it did in every other country, this small thing to what it was. And I just think it resonated because the youth and adults alike were like, this is us. This is the place where we call mates cunts. Referring to an artist there who I don't know, but he's got some good music, I'll tell you that much. One breath, one take will always be one breath, one take. It's an anomaly. I can't even explain what it is about it. And I've heard so many artists say this, and I think this is cliche, but I'm still going to say it. It's crazy that my biggest and most favorite song to me is like my most lyrically probably not the most sharpest. Like, it was just Raindrop, Drop Top, Me Goes to Pass the Weed, and people loved it, man. People ate it up. So One Breath, One Take, I guess, was just a flex, and I think it was a show of my wordplay. I think as the song went on, like the punchlines were relentless, and it was like, man, the man can rap. And it was in one take. There was that, like, you know, that cliche or that iconic ending, shout out, get me a stripper, whatever the hell I said at the end. But the Women, Weed and Wordplay one, I think popped because it was when I first really referenced that I smoke on a UK dollar, when I go from the UK holla, I love me a UK accent, she loved me the SJ butter, and it just kind of, that line on that smoking weed with you, like, I think that just blended American instrumental, bit of UK referencing with this Aussie slang and this kid that had just come out of nowhere, and that took it to a level of internationally being noticed, like people like Eyes from the UK, Kamikaze, he featured on my debut, Jaffro, some of the bigger names that we ended up working on, H, who I chat with now, you know, started to pay attention later on, and from those moments. So I think they were two massive parts for those reasons. My debut changed my life, and it's not so much that it changed my life in the sense that, oh wow, it changed my life, I made heaps of money, but it changed my life because I took a punt on something, and I just believed in it, and I just manifested it and just tried so hard, and it happened. And like, when it happened at the time, it was just a debut album. It was just like, oh wow, I did it. To sit here now and go like, oh, we're 600 million streams, 4 albums and 3 mixtapes, whatever. But that moment when I compiled an album, and I don't know if some of my team that I work with will remember, but it was slapped together in a way, not slapped, but like these songs had been written for years because I'd worked for so many years and behind the scenes. So it was like 2 months of relentless just fucking work to get that shit done. Film clips, like fucking renting out ovals, bro. Wish you well, the film clip, man. Bring it up on the screen. Check out Wombat Chundering right now. Like, god damn it. It was just, it was crazy. And for my debut to be so raw and also so authentic, and for me, just be me, I'll never forget it. And that's why it's still, with all the albums I've dropped, my most weekly streamed album. I don't use the word classic lightly because Australia has so many classics, but if we're talking hip hop, I think you can't not mention Women Went to Wordplay as an iconic or classic moment that entered the hip hop community. I love cricket, and that's the thing. So I also love bringing everyone together. So my whole entire concept was cricket is a test match. Bender, it goes 5 days, test match, referencing the song, bit of an Easter egg, put it in Wish You Well. The test match is the theme song for the clip, right? So I call all the boys that organise it. I can't even remember the name of the hotel, somewhere in fucking Tempe. Could be wrong there, but maybe, I don't know where it was. But we're at some hotel on top of a pub, 10 of us in a room that holds about 4 people, sleeping there because the next day we rented out a cricket oval to play cricket and have some drinks and film and basically do a really gentlemanly cricket match, right? About 8 o'clock in the morning, my mates are scaling the window. The VBs are half drunk. By the time we get to the shoot, the cases are empty. I'm necking them shirtless and shit. My managers are literally collecting the rubbish off the fucking shoot so we can still shoot. And it went from the cricket scene to just, bro, you guys just do what you're going to do. And I remember, shout out to Gabe, who handled it so well and just went with it and created an iconic clip. But the most iconic part, you can't not bring it up. And I still got the scar to prove it. I cut my toe. Husky smashed a wine bottle, just pissed off his head for no reason, just decided it's a motherfucking vibe. Cracks the wine bottle. Great effect. Would have been awesome if it didn't land on my toe, cut my toe. We didn't know what to do, so we decided to add it into the clip. Long story short, we just basically winged it, and from that point on, and it's a good lesson in life that, like, when things don't go to plan, you persevere, you give 100%, and you accidentally end up with what is to this day, again, like I said, from Wombat Chundering to the crash tackle to the umpire with the, the interview, to my brother with the glasses looking like Harry Potter, just there's so many moments. So shout out to Gabe on that one for handling one of the most ruckus days, I'm sure, of his career. But that was iconic as well. So many iconic moments I'm reflecting on, wow. The first thing that I ever did once I did those 2 tracks was I'm like, we need to take this on tour. So the Ashes tour was a natural thing for me. We just did the cricket. I'd mentioned I loved the cricket. I thought it was a play on words, the Ashes, right? So I launched this tour, and my expectation was like, man, imagine a couple hundred people want to come down and see me play. Like, I've only got a few songs out. Like, imagine this would be sick. And at the time, me and Wombat were tight. My brother had just won, and this is a throwback and a half, anyone remember this, the Your Shot DJ competition that was being hosted. My brother was in the Your Shot DJ comp, and I go, hey, want to learn DJing and be my DJ and come on a tour? He went, yeah, bro. So me, Wombat, and Brock, the 3 amigos, we got together and we ran the Ashes. I think it was a month later, it sold out, and we had more shows. I didn't know what to do. It was surreal. And then it was one of the craziest times. Like, I can't even bring up some of the crazy shit that happened on that tour. As you can imagine, that was our first tour, so a lot of learning curves is all I will say were discovered along the way for the boys. The boys turned to men. But yeah, it was an iconic tour, and it kind of is full circle to why it's the last leg, I think everything comes back to the cricket there, and the test match, the thing that never ends but seems like it does, and it's going to, but it's not. Like, it's kind of felt like my life. So that's why we started with the Ashes, and now it's the last leg. Freedom, man. It's actually, every time I hear it, it's just, it's so sick. But the video, I think that's one of the first songs where the video was so impactful that it boosted everything, you know what I mean? The song was classic. It was also radio friendly, so it made it very palatable. So good my vocabulary there, fucking just clocking that. Yeah, fucking, no wonder I'm a rapper. But yeah, it was very palatable. And then the clip just added so much dimension to it. And when we did the makeup, I remember it was like 2 hours of makeup, and I'm like, this better be worth it. Like, and I saw the footage back, and I just couldn't believe what we did. And I had so much fun that I was pranking people in it, and who knows, man? Maybe I should bring that guy back and just make him a content creator. Just fucking old man freedom. Just, you know, just Freedom 45. The Trailer Park Boys reference if you catch that one. But yeah, that clip is, again, couldn't be replicated. You know, if someone did that again, you wouldn't be able to not go, that's like the Freedom clip, you know? A lot of people have done that. I think they dress up as the old man thing, but that was done in such a way from like, I remember my manager, Nick Loopy at the time, I think he was the fruit guy. There was, oh, I love a cameo. And it was just, yeah, it was just so cool, man. It was just really, really, really cool. I need a second. It's the UK, right? That moment for me, you got to understand, I'm a kid. Picture this kid sitting in you all did it, right? We sat on our laptops, we watched your favorite rappers freestyles. Fire in the Booth, man, that was mine. Wiley, Devlin, Skepta, Wretch, like the UK fucking glory list. That was where it was hosted. Charlie Sloth. If you weren't on Charlie Sloth, who were you back then? That was how it was. Fire in the Booth was the standard. That it ventured out to Champagne Papi. Drake stood in that room and did a Fire in the Booth. And somehow this kid from Hurstville gets a phone call and goes, do you want a Fire in the Booth? And I was in Greece. I had a week's notice and I'm like, man, I am missing an opportunity like this. Let's do it. And I think that added a layer to it. Like, you know, and I remember being in the street a day before it with the laptop on the ground using Wi-Fi hotspot in the middle of London, these Aussie blokes, we're fucking getting it sorted, man. And we get there and to just peel it back a second, to like bring it back, we get there. It's so surreal to me. I'm sinking in. I'm in the Apple, this big building. Charlie Sloth, this guy I've only seen on a camera, just walks out to me and he's really there and it's fuck. And my managers are there at the time and they're like, and it's funny because like I guess sometimes they don't feel the moment like you, so they're like, yeah, it's fucking gonna be good. And I'm there going, bro, I'm gonna die. And then he got me in the booth and he just goes, are you ready, bro? And I believe, and you can pull it up, I think the first thing I say is, or one of the first things I say, shout out my mum. And you can see it in my eyes. From the moment I say shout out my mum, I just dialed the fuck in. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I laid that in 9 minutes, one go, start to finish, and I didn't miss a beat. I couldn't do it again if I tried, I don't think. It was just such a moment, and I'll never forget it. Like, I'll tell my grandkids, like that for me is such a proud moment, and forever go, who was the first Aussie on Fire in the Booth, bro? It was Chillin' It. It was Blake Turnell, the kid from Hurstville, the one breath, one taker, the wild cricket benderer. Man, like, it just goes to show that anything's possible if you take the balls out and you take the chances. You know, that shit. I did that shit. I think for me is actually like, look, it's a tough one, but if you got me on the spot right now, I think it's one of my faves. I think it's one of my classic top tier albums. You start to finish, no skips. It's very strong. Ready for the Pain, I think, is one of my favorite songs, for example. And the song to me, the album to me, it's so good because it's raw, man. It's raw. I was going through like a really dark time at that time. Like, that wasn't a time in my life when I was really, they say the wins bring in complacency and the losses make you. And I had just gone through, you know, a debut that just crushed it, felt on top of the world, had come into some money that I wasn't expecting I'd ever see, let alone at one time. So my life was quite turmoilic while I was making that album. I don't know whether that impacted to like the power of the artistry, but yeah, it's a classic. And I think that the current state of my life at that time and the fact that the world was changing made that like a staple, and it made it a moment that was solidified. Like COVID coming after that solidified that Octagon being a thing that got people through the COVID time, you know what I mean? So it's funny because I'm sitting here now only realizing there are a lot of iconic moments in my lifespan, man. I've done a lot in my 8 years. I guess that's why I feel so fucking weathered. But yeah. Well, once COVID restrictions were lifted, just to the bare minimum, I remember like everyone was struggling to get shows over the line. People were like, this isn't worth it. The workload's too high. And we were the first ones to put our hands up and go, let's spread 4 shows. Let's do one show 4 times and spread them 1.5 apart. Whatever we got to do, let's do it for the fans. And we did. I remember one night I did 4 shows over 48 hours, back to back. And was it tiring? Yes, but did the fans get to experience something that they didn't get to if I didn't make that effort? No. So eventually we went on the world tour, the Commonwealth tour. We went to New Zealand, we went to London. Everything was really cool. To play London was surreal. to have a fan stalk me in my Airbnb just to get some merch, and he's like, I'm your biggest fan, bro. Shout out John Beaver. I still remember the man's name, bro. I don't forget my fans' names. It's truly family, so I remember the bro. Yeah, so it was a surreal time. Shout out to Lissy, man, because Stanford was the highlight of Full Circle, like without a doubt. That was like a massive collab, and I think the first time where the states united really, and also you really got to see the Polynesian community are really strong and really proud, and they're really dominant at the moment. And I feel like that was like the first time you saw like kind of the little white guy be like, kind of like the halfback in the footy team who was accepted by the big crew, and it was like, it just kind of united, I think, a lot of the community on a multicultural level, let alone the song banged. So that was where that's where that Stanford stood. That's where that was.
But that led to a tour as well.
And that led to the tour and everything else. As for the mixtape Full Circle, I want to keep it completely candid here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it to you. Like, I'm glad it was successful, and we made it at a time when, like, you know, Overkill is one of my best songs. But I'll be honest, I wrote that song on 2 days of no sleep, on a lot of cocaine, locked up in a room that I had actually destroyed, that belonged to one of my friends that I'm still disgusted about, like, you know, and like I was going through one of the darkest times in my life. Like it was that's why the song Dark and the Light is on there, because I was paying the price for the dark and the light. Like I basically felt like I had sold my soul to get to where I'm at right now. I was going through a really dark phase. But crazily enough, and it's testament to what my career's always been about, we still put the music out. We still got the work done, and it told a different story. It was a different type of thing. And I think at the time, when everyone was locked in their room feeling a little bit crazy themselves, it kind of resonated in a way, like accidentally, you know? Like everything is accidental. It was just authentic. It just resonated. And, you know, from Stanford to Overkill to some of the things like, geez, I can't even remember some of the names of the songs, man. What would you do for the fortune and fame? Fortune and fame. I just remember that was one of my favorites as well. The arrest. So, like, that's something that, like, look, and there's been plenty of them, and I put my hand up and go, like, look, man, I'm a man, lives and dies by the sword. Love me, hate me, judge me, rate me. It is what it is, bro. That time, though, specifically, let's clear the facts right here. Man, it was the time when it was the whole mask thing. I get there was a law, but I had a mask in my backpack, man. I'm drinking a boost juice. This guy, I don't know if he had a bad day. I don't know if he just didn't like me. But he was just getting his lunch and just made it his mission to come up to me and my mum and just, where's my mask? I decided to be a dickhead a little bit, said I'm David Johnson, give him false information. Technically, that's illegal. So he just decides a full force arrest and a body slam is what is warranted for that minor offence of saying the wrong name. Then my mum's like filming and she's there, and I just want to bring it up, and you feel free to play it next. One of the funniest moments of it is when I say, I'm just shopping for Christmas for my mum's birthday. Like, that's what I tell the cop. And I don't know what the fuck I said that for, but I then am getting handcuffed, and I'm, again, anyone who wants to watch this and wants the wiser person to answer, at the time, I thought it was hilarious, and it was very viral. I look back on that, I was doing nothing by antagonizing that cop. Who knows what the fuck that guy was going through, and I was doing nothing for myself in the courtroom by doing what I was doing right there. Luckily enough, my lawyer Ahmed, who's on a high salary, which is why he's so fucking good, he got me out of that completely. The charges were dismissed, and the court actually owed me restitution for that. So I was pretty lucky, and it also was, again, the catalyst for launching a massive album again and continuing to roll on. So again, another moment that should have stopped me and put me in my tracks was just another moment that boosted me even more. So, no pun intended, not even the cop could hold me down. No one can hold me down. Susan's Son will forever be not my favorite song as in like lyrically or my favorite song as in the party, but it'll be the song that when I'm older, fuck.
Take your time, bro.
Sorry, give me a sec. Dickhead. Susan's Son is like something I play to my mum when, like, you know, when we're older and, you know, we're on our last bits of our last days kind of thing. It's a piece of history for my mum, for my family, and I wish I could talk more about it, but as you can probably all see, it means so much to me that, and my mum, like, she plays it every day, like every day. I don't just say that like a pun, I mean, every day she plays it. I had all these answers, like I bought her the car, it was so cool, and I'm like, I just lost it all. I'm like, yep, it was, yeah.
That's the power of the song, cuz that's what you did.
Camera 2 is rolling, hold for a sec.
Man, there's so many memories that I've got that I couldn't name them all. Like I've played from FOMO to Listen Out to Splendor to I think I've done 10 tours, I'd say. Like when I was playing, the festival was, I think, FOMO. Not going to name the person, but a friend of mine that I work with actually ended up getting done outside and he couldn't get inside. So that was quite a funny start to the show. But it ended up making it into the show. I ended up killing the set, but I went to stage dive and I hit my shins on the barrier and actually landed on a fan. And the fan got crushed and they ended up meeting me after and I hugged them and I met them. And to this day, that person's mum still messages me and I know them. So shout out Beck O'Shea and her daughter who were at one of the first festivals that I stage dived on her. And yeah, that was a crazy one. Playing with H was crazy, like opening for H, that was pretty cool. Especially because like he didn't know much about me and he just thought I was a madman Australian. Like he was like, this guy's off his nut, like at the gym and crazy shit. So that was a big moment. But RD, I have to touch on because I remember we were discussing, he thought I was a madman, like at the gym thing. I remember back when I was drinking, I got on the piss with him and I got blind and he was filming me just passing out. We became some good mates. And I was telling him to stage dive and he didn't want to do it. And I opened up for his set and convinced him while he does it to do it. And he stage dived during his set. And as I realised he stage dived, he kind of was getting lost in there and security was like, what are we going to do? And I had this footage of it somewhere if someone's got it. I go out there and I rescue RD from the stage dive, bring him back on and the man just keeps performing. And it was just such a classic moment. One of the final moments though, and we can go over every tour, but I think we'd be here all day if we went over every tour. The last two moments I bring up is Splendor. That was probably the biggest festival for me. That and Lost City. Lost City was the biggest crowd, but Splendor was like the biggest moment. And a little bit of behind the scenes for that, I was a little bit inebriated and crazily, like in a bad way before the set. And I was able to crush the set still, like in a perfectly precision way. So that was a big moment. You know what, I'm gonna bring up one more. Kid Laroi, shout out to the bro for all his success and fame. Much love to you, bro. All the best. I'm so happy for you. Before that man was famous, man, he was a little kid from back in the area, man. I was playing a show at, I believe it was called Trademark or Ivy. Ivy, yeah, it was called. And I was the main act and he was going after. And I remember I had this ruckus crowd. I stage dived or jumped off the balcony and he played after. He was like 16, snuck in the set. And he jumped in the crowd and a similar thing. I remember I pulled him out of the crowd to make sure he was safe. And he was such a cool kid. And I remember thinking that night going, that kid's going to be good. And look at him now. He's one of the biggest artists in the world. So that's just another small story of the history and pieces of the puzzle that people don't know about. So shout out to Kid Laroi. I don't know if he remembers that or if he's going to see this, but yeah, bro. I think that was like the moment, as soon as that came on the track, everyone knew it was big. And Boys Light Up, for me, and I think a lot of men growing up, was like something that crossed the generations. Like your old man would have listened to Boys Light Up because of Australian Crawl, but then you would know Boys Light Up because it's just an anthem for the boys on the bender kind of thing. So for me, it made sense to go, let's remake this track into a newer futuristic version. Without going into the details, it was an expensive sample, as you can imagine, one of the biggest songs in Australia. And then I had one of the best producers with me at the time, so we spared no expense on the budget as well. So yeah, it was a crazy clip. What makes it even crazier is I had a midlife crisis and shaved my head before the clip. So that's a moment, again, that goes down as a history, just like the missing tooth. Like I feel like I need a miniature character collection that comes out later on at the end of my career of all the people that existed. But yeah, Shaved Head Chill was in that one. And it was a classic, man. It's still one of my favorite songs. And to this day, people still go, that's your best song. It's what I put on at the sesh or the bender. So yeah, but the tape in general, I think, had some other moments that I think were better, but just not bigger, if that makes sense. The funniest thing about regional crowds is that they're actually the best crowds. Like, they're the most loving fans. They're pretty ruckus. And I'm not gonna lie, there are some towns that, you know, they're notorious for it and they know who they are. Like, they're pretty ruckus. But, like it was one of the most demanding things I'd ever done. And it only was when I was doing it that I realised that. And it took a toll. And I think people saw some of the stuff that came out of the news or some of the stuff that came out while I was on tour. Like, it was taking a mental toll on me doing 4 shows a week, flying, leaving I'd just become a dad at the time. You know, it was crazy, but it was worth every bit of it. And Again, without naming it, my team knows we grossed a record-breaking number for our company with that tour. So to put in that workload, go through the struggles of it all, the highs and the lows, have the amazing regional fan base that I just discovered, and then capitalize off that as well and make the income, it was worth it. It was definitely it was an experience. That's what I would say. It was definitely an experience, a learning one and a positive one. See, so for me, the difference between DNA and the Green Room is they're both mixtapes. But for me, 420 DNA was more about capturing like what made Chillin' It. Like if you notice, there were songs like Growth, like the songs about Tash and Leo, and that was when I was really starting to embrace the family man that I was becoming. So you were kind of seeing the evolution there. And the Green Room was kind of like a nod to the guy that I was about to let go. Like that was kind of the last time you were seeing. That's why the last clip was that Mary Mary. It was like, let's kind of, we're getting older. We're still always going to be 420 fan, but like, there's no more 16 bongs in 3 minutes. I don't think the throat and the lungs can take it, mate. So, yeah, to me, the Green Room was like commemorating at the end of what was going to come to lead to what we're doing now. And DNA was about honouring like where I'm at now with my family and the growth that I'm about to go on. So that would be, I'd say, the difference in those two tapes. Wisdom, Weed and Wordplay is a name that I tossed about it for a while, but I think it's because everything that I've ever done in my career stems from that debut album. We discussed it earlier, like it was the moment that was the most defining. It's still a classic, it's still the most played. So it felt right to end it on bringing it back to that moment. And the name comes from the fact that when I came up, I think everyone knows it. I was quite debaucherous, I was quite belligerent with the women, the way I acted. I'm not even proud of some of the things that I had said. And as I got older in life and now I'm wiser, I've met my wife, I've met my fiancée, I should say. I've got my son, I'm in love, long story short. And I think like the women part of my life just became something that wasn't relevant to me and real to me. And for this album to be real to me, what made sense to me was like, okay, you still that same guy, you still smoking weed, that's a fact. You still barring out, bro, like you're retiring and you're sitting here writing notes in your phone with songs that you're never going to release because you're retiring. So I can't even know if I should say that. But yeah, I'm going to have songs in my phone still that no one's ever going to hear. But the women thing's gone. Now I'm just a wise man. And to be a wise man, you had to be young and dumb. And I think everyone watched, all you got to see, if you wanted to sum up 8 years, you got to watch the young, dumb kid become the old wise man. And that's why it's Wisdom, Weed and Wordplay. The highest moment has to be the birth of my son. Like I could sit here, and I know it's cliche, I could sit here and tell you another story of a show or a tour or a moment or a song, but man, when I cut my son's umbilical cord and I held my little man and I went, this is my son, and I think you can get this footage up here because I believe I was so excited. I filmed myself holding my son. He'd been here for a minute. His name is right there. It's everything to me. It's everything to me. There's no words. I can't even give you the words to describe it. It's that high of a description that I don't have the words. The lowest point for me was, I think, having to sit down with my team and accept that, like, I have some mental health and drug and alcohol issues that I unfortunately had picked up from this career. I never started this journey as a drug taker per se. Like I did as a kid, then went to rehab at 17 and 18. I'm not going to go into details on that, but like I was basically a stoner. That's all I was. And through this career and some of the things that come with dancing with the devil, as they say, I went through a dark period, and there came a point where it was literally like nearly a walk away moment with my team. And I was blessed enough in that lowest point of my life to have people stick around me, whether it was my family, my team, my 420 family partners and things like that, all stuck by me. And I'm very blessed to say that we're going to end this with the same people that went through all those moments together. So yeah, that was probably my lowest moment, like realizing I'd let people down, let myself down, and having to bounce back. But in saying that, back to what I said before with the full circle, the low moments make you the better person. So that the win gave me the perspective to be the father, but that lowest moment gave me the power to have this fucking just confident chest out decision that I've made and be proud of it and be content with it and just be at peace. Massively. It changed me. I don't know if it changed me or if it just made me go back to Blake. And that's the interesting thing of what I sometimes dilemma in my head. But the decision I made is based around the fact that, like, I have a son now, I have a wife now, and as people have heard in my music, early on, the song Dust to Dust, like with Husky, where I talk about all I wanted was to be a dad. I made some decisions in my younger years where I chose to not go that route. And I fell in love and met my fiance. And when we had my son, things just changed. Like the touring and the party life really changed for me. Like, and everything just kind of was a different perspective. And I can't explain it because I would hear other people say it. And before I was a dad, I'd be like, that is such a cop-out cliche. Fucking, what are you talking about? And then I understood it because there was a moment, and I can define it for you, the exact moment when I started to feel this feeling that's led to this moment. And it was when I was doing the regional tour and I was going week for week, and my son had just learned to talk and I'd missed out on a little bit of that, and I was doing a FaceTime with him. And he said to me, when Daddy come home? And I said, I'm not, I've got to keep doing these things. And he walked away from the phone and he had the shits. And I hung that phone up and spent the rest of the night thinking about, like, what did I do this career for? To be a dad, to have a wife, to be financially free, and to endeavour on my career and be successful. Achieved all the things I wanted to achieve. Have the most gorgeous wife and fiance I could possibly ask for, and I have a beautiful son, and I'd like to have more. And at that moment when I realised that he's missing me, I'm like, who am I doing this for anymore? The 420 fam was because I had no family. Now I got a family. And the 420 fam, if you're really 420 fam, will always back. And anyone who's a father or a mother or anyone with dependents will understand this decision. It's like, I want to raise my kids. And I was lucky enough with the work I've done and the sacrifices I made over this 8-year span that I can have this luxury to go on another endeavour, to go capitalise on investments and make other business moves and choose to do what the fuck I want. For my son, to just simply, as plain and simple, just because I want to be present, I want to be there, and I want my son to go, you were crazy, Dad, at this age. And then I want to go, yep. And then you were around, and I decided to change my life. And now we run this $1 million business doing X, Y, and Z. You know, and the sky is the limit, and I've always believed that. This ain't the end for Blake. It's just the end for Chilling It.